Hello everybody, Kyoto Winston here, and today I will be doing What If Deku Was Accelerator Part 3. So, in the last part, Deku was quote-unquote betrayed by All For One, and for that, he blew off All For One's right arm and his left leg, as after defeating All For One, Deku would have left the League of Villains, leaving Kurogiri and Shigaraki unharmed for their quote-unquote nurturing of him. Now, continuing the story, after Deku quote-unquote left the League of Villains, he would have been walking around the city and thinking of what to do next. Him thinking, right, now that I've left the League of Villains, I need an income, and I also can't use money as freely as I did. But for right now, my first priority is... As Deku would have looked across the street and seeing a coffee shop, him saying, coffee. As Deku would have went into that coffee shop and bought a cup of black coffee. Him sitting down on a random table and just enjoying his cup of black coffee. But while Deku was enjoying his cup of coffee, in the corner of his eyes, he would have saw H.O. on top of a door in an alleyway. Deku not paying much attention to it, however, right before he was about to leave, he would have saw a guy with a bag walking into that door underneath the word HO. With Deku noticing that that bag has some, blood. With Deku, after finishing the cup of coffee, he would have walked over and also went in that door. As inside, he would have just saw something that looks like a haircut shop, with the receptionist across the room saying, "Welcome to the Haircut Hunter, how may I help you?" Wait, you're just a kid. Him looking up from his desk and at Deku. Deku saying, "Yeah, so what? Also, what's the O for?" The O stands for organization. Now, are you here for a haircut or not? If not, then leave. No, I'm not here for a haircut. I would like to join your hunter organization. Oh, you got it wrong, kid. That H does not stand for hunter. It stands for haircut. Yeah, cut the crap. I just saw a guy walking in here with a bag that is covered in a bit of blood. So it is either he tried to save someone and then immediately came here for a haircut, or he killed someone and came here to collect his bounty. And I think both you and I know what the answer to that is. So you should just drop the act, receptionist. You're smart, kid. I must give you that. But, sorry, you're not qualified to be in here. Go back to your mommy. And if you really want to, come back and try again within, 8 years? As the receptionist would have sat down and continued to look at his phone. However, just as the receptionist did that, Deku would have walked over and grabbed the receptionist by his shirt, the receptionist being confused as Deku would have yanked the receptionist out of the reception and onto the floor. Him slamming the receptionist on the ground and grabbing the receptionist by his right arm and saying, "I'm not joking around, third string. I would like to join this organization, and you will let me. If not, I'll just break your right arm." Deku saying that while twisting the receptionist's right arm. The receptionist being in pain, he would have said, Kid, you don't know what you're getting into. Leave before you get yourself in trouble. Deku twisting the receptionist's right arm even harder and saying, like I said, are you gonna let me join or not? Alright, yes. Deku letting go of the guy's right arm and saying, good, now tell me, how do I join? The receptionist crawling up from the ground and saying, it's not that hard, you just have to fill in a form. With the receptionist walking into the reception and grabbing out, or well, taking out a piece of paper, and also a pen. Him giving that to Deku and saying, just fill it in. Deku taking the form, he would have just started to fill that form. Him writing down that he's a guy and also faking his birth date. Deku filling out everything until the part of his quirk and his name. Deku wondering if he should give his real name as quirk or just fake both of them. Deku thinking, quirk. Might as well. Vector control. As for my name, I've got one. Now, Deku, after filling up the form, he would have gave the form to the receptionist. The receptionist saying, well then, Accelerator, right this way. The receptionist bringing Deku into a hidden lift and pressing the floor which says testing for newbies, with them arriving within a few seconds. As whenever the door opens, Deku would have saw basically an underground tournament. The receptionist saying, right, let me explain. To join the Hunter organization, you have to fill in 2 requirements. The first one is to fill in the form, which you did. The second is to win 5 consecutive matches in that arena. If you lose, then you will have to fight 5 people all over again. As for how you can get people to fight you, well, think of your own way. Last but not least, good luck, I guess. Deku saying, sure, but can I kill? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. No. And as for the winning conditions, to win, you will have to knock out the other opponent. If you kill the other opponent, you're going to lose. Oh well, doesn't matter. As Deku would have started to walk over to the arena, him seeing a guy beating up another guy, with Deku just watching the fight and waiting for his turn. And just as the match was done, Deku would have saw, well, a narrator? Is that what you call it? The narrator for a fight. Yeah, that guy. The narrator saying, and the knockout! Congratulations to Boneshaker! And looks like this is his 4th consecutive win, and his next win he's going to join the Hunter organization. Now, who is gonna be his new opponent? If you would like to fight him, please join the arena and fight! And after the narrator said that, Boneshaker, which is the one who won the match, would have started to taunt everyone. Him basically trying to get someone to fight him, which he did, as the one that wants to fight him is Deku. Deku stepping up and into the arena, as the narrator would have said, and it looks like Boneshaker has a new opponent, and the narrator not knowing what Deku's name is, he would have walked over and asked, hey kid, what's your name? The name is Accelerator. The narrator continuing to say, and Boneshaker's new opponent is called Accelerator! Now, let's see who's gonna win, our new challenger Accelerator or the 4th consecutive winner Boneshaker. Let the fight begin! As the narrator, just as he said, let the fight begin, he would have basically walked down and out of the arena, as Boneshaker would have started to taunt Deku to try and attack him, to which Deku would have responded with, just skip the chit chat and fight me already. Which Boneshaker would have listened, him immediately rushing towards Deku, pulling back his left arm and, well, throwing it straight towards Deku, which Deku, controlling the vectors around him, he would have reflected the force of the punch straight back at Boneshaker. Boneshaker being confused, as he would have just jumped back a bit and trying to reanalyze what's going on. What the hell happened? I swear I punched him, but how did I felt the force? Who is this kid? Boneshaker looking at his left arm and still being confused as to what happened, as he would have looked up to see, well, Deku yawning. Deku saying, even though I drank coffee, I'm still tired. Boneshaker seeing that would have thought, is he mocking me? This angering Boneshaker, as Boneshaker would have rushed towards Deku again. But this time, instead of punching at Deku, he would have started to try and grab Deku, which Deku would have dodged easily, as using his left knee, Deku would have kneed Boneshaker in the stomach, and controlling the force of that knee attack, Deku would have sent Boneshaker into the air, him disappearing and reappearing from behind Boneshaker, as Deku would have punched Boneshaker in the back, which would have sent Boneshaker back onto the ground, with Deku landing on the spot where he hit Boneshaker, him also manipulating the force of his web landing and basically crushing the Boneshaker's spine, him stepping down from the Boneshaker's back, as Deku would have started to basically taunt everyone there, him saying that he expected more from this quote-unquote hunter organization, also saying that comparing to him, everyone there is very, very weak, with Deku continuing to say things that would either anger everyone or humiliate them. Now, after 2 or so minutes, a man which is fairly muscular would have walked up to the arena, him telling Deku that he will be Deku's next opponent, to which he just walks into the arena, Deku smirking, as he would have just slightly tapped on the Boneshaker's back, him being sent flying away. Just as that happened, the quote-unquote narrator would have said, alright, looks like after that terrifying laugh, Accelerator has finally defeated his first opponent, the Boneshaker, and let's see who is his next opponent. Oh, it is Terano, one of the top 10 hunters in the entire organization, more specifically, number 5. And without further ado, let the show begin. After that being said, Terano would have reached into his pocket and taking out 2 knuckle dusters, him putting them on his hands, as he would have said, you really shouldn't have invoked my rage, kid. Now you're gonna pay for it. Prepare to get frightened by what you see, Accelerator. Me? Being scared of a third string weakling like you? Then you must be more of a moron than that guy who called himself the Boneshaker or something. But right after Deku said that, he would have noticed Terano's eyes turning from black into red. Just then, Deku's face would have been filled with fear, him trembling down onto his knees and saying, What the? Get away from me! Oh, what's that, kid? You scared? Too bad. After you invoked my fear, there will be no mercy for you. Terano rushing in towards Deku and throwing out a punch towards Deku along with his knuckle dusters. Deku still being in that terrified state, he would not have been able to move a muscle. However, since Deku can subconsciously redirect things that are harmful to him, or what his body deems to be harmful to him, he would have been able to subconsciously reflect the force of the attack back towards Terano. Terano, feeling the reflected force of his own attack, he would of course be surprised. Not because Deku reflected his attack, it's because usually when Terano uses his quirk on others, they cannot move a muscle or even think about anything else, or just think to use their quirk. Meaning that when Terano uses his quirk on others, they normally would not be able to fight back. And since Deku kind of sort of did, that surprised him. However, after being surprised for a fraction of a second, he would have continued to attack Deku, with every single one of his attacks being reflected towards back himself, if not just reflected into another direction. However, Terano, after being reflected back a few times, he would have started to get annoyed. Him stepping back, turning around, and trying to land a spinning back kick towards Deku, which, just as usual, got reflected by Deku, him being sent spinning, as Deku would have finally snapped out of his quote-unquote fear state, him being confused as to what just happened, but before he can think about anything else, he would have noticed that Terano has stopped quote-unquote spinning, and he's about to turn around and look at Deku, with Deku realizing that Terano's quirk has to do with something that is related to eyesight and or eye contact. He would have immediately initiated or used a calculation which would allow Deku to jump into the air. Him doing so, as Deku would have jumped into the air and on top of Terano. Terano being a bit confused as to where Deku went, as he would have thought, wait, did my quirk worn off? Just as Terano thought that, Deku would have landed on Terano's head and tapped on his head. Terano being a bit confused, as he would have been slammed onto the ground. Him struggling to get back up, Deku would have taken his knuckle duster out of his hand, and by his hand I mean Terano's hand. Deku, after taking both of those knuckle dusters, he would have asked, Hey, Terano, was it? Have you ever wondered what would happen if your knuckle dusters went 50 miles an hour? What are you trying to say? Oh, nothing, I'm just curious, since I'm about to find out. Just then, Deku would have manipulated the vectors around the knuckle dusters that are in his hands, and causing them to accelerate to 50 miles an hour straight towards Terano's, let's say, his spine. Actually, no, his left arm. More specifically, his left bicep, which Terano would of course start to shout in pain. Deku, hearing Terano shout, he would of course start to laugh, him saying, Seriously? This is your top 5 hunter? And I thought you have more to offer to the table. Giving me just some fear won't do you anything, you know? You have to do better than that. Come on, who's next? With one of the people watching the fight saying, this, this kid is insane. How can you laugh after that? Me? Insane? Oh, no, no, no. I'm not insane. I'm just invoking fear into others like this guy, who's called Terano, I believe. Who cares? The only difference between us is that I put more of a scar on everyone. A scar that they will never forget. With Deku continuing to laugh in his terrifying, fear-invoking laugh. Basically, the laugh I did in almost every single part of What If Deku Was Accelerator. However, while Deku was laughing, he would have heard someone slowly clapping his hands, him stopping his laugh and looking towards that direction, as he would have saw a man and the man saying, "Bravo, bravo, what a splendid show you have there, Accelerator. However, I must ask you, do you mind making a deal with me?" A deal, you say? Do you really think that I'll make a deal with just some nobody? Oh, no, no, no. I think you've got it wrong, Accelerator. I'm not just some nobody. I'm the nobody. Really? And what was that supposed to mean? The man stepping into the arena and continuing to say, "What that means to you doesn't matter to me. However, as I was saying, the deal I wanted to make with you is we will have a fight. And if you lose, then you will have to join me and do whatever I say. But if you win, then I'll allow you to skip the rest of those two other opponents you have to do, and also give you the #1 spot of the Hunter organization. What do you say, Accelerator? Are you interested?" Why, of course I'm interested, but just because I'm interested doesn't mean that I will accept your deal. The reason being, #1, I don't even know who you are, Mr. Nobody. Hence, I don't know if you can actually give me what you say you will give me. And as for #2, the rewards and risks are too low for my taste. Oh, too low, you say? Then how about you make the deal? How about this? If I lose, I'll become your humble servant and do whatever you say and whatever you order me to do. However, if I win, along with me being accepted to this organization and getting the first place, I would also like to receive 10,000 US dollars monthly. How about that, Mr. Nobody? Why, of course, giving you 10,000 US dollars monthly is not even 10% of the earnings I get each day. So now that I've updated our deal, would you like to now accept the deal? No, not yet. You may have solved the second problem, but you still haven't solved the first problem. Who are you, Nobody? Oh, that? Easy. I could tell you, but you probably won't believe me, so I'll just leave it to the quote-unquote narrator to do it. Just as that man said that, the quote-unquote narrator would have said, "Hey, I have a name, you know." "Doesn't matter, just introduce me already." "Right." "It looks like Accelerator has a new opponent. After defeating his other two opponents, which are the Boneshaker and the #5 Hunter Terano, his third opponent is... Oh my goodness! It is the #1 Hunter, Spectral! Will Accelerator's winning streak end here? Let's find out in the new match, Spectro vs Accelerator! Deku saying, so you're the number one hunter, eh? Yes, I am the number one hunter of the entire hunter organization. Now that you know who I am and what I am capable of giving you, would you now like to accept that deal? Yes, I would like to accept that deal. If you are ready to give me all of those rewards, then yes, definitely yes. Don't overestimate yourself, Accelerator. You don't even know what my quirk is. Do you really think that I will need to know someone's quirk to defeat them? No, I don't. We'll see about that. As their fight would begin. But that will be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. That will be amazing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!